Today, the moon is in full ascent, and it comes to demand your courage. The fear and hesitation do not cross through this night. Take a deep breath, feel the pulse in your blood, your heart accelerating. It is not anticipation, it is presence. The climax has arrived. The energy of the harvest supermoon in Aries is at its peak, and it is not an event to be observed from a distance. It is a summons, a force that pulls us to the center of our own arena, that demands a decision, that calls us to the battlefield of our life, not to fight, but to claim what is ours. The atmosphere has changed from preparation to verdict. The time for doubt has ended. This is not just another full moon. This is the culmination point of the entire journey we have been on. Remember, we have crossed the reset of the eclipse, the balance of the equinox, the power confrontations that tested us to the limit. Each of these events was a preparation, a lesson, a tool. And now, the supermoon in Aries arrives to ask us the final question. What are you going to do with everything you have learned? With all the strength you have discovered? Tonight is not a new test. It is the final exam. It is the moment to use the clarity, the balance, and the power we have gained to take a decisive step toward our destiny. What we will do together is serve as your guide for this final act of courage. We will explore the true nature of this harvest of the self, understand the difference between blind action and action with soul, and learn to use this wave of Aryan energy not to create chaos, but to definitively free ourselves from what still holds us back. But before we dive into the strategy, the universe asks for your decision. It is a commitment you make to yourself, a vow that today you will not retreat. Declare right now in the comments, I act with courage. With your will firmed, we are ready. The night of the harvest is now. Every full moon functions as a great cosmic mirror. It reflects the light of the sun, our consciousness, to illuminate our emotional and subconscious world. But what happens today is of a different order of magnitude. Today's supermoon is not an ordinary mirror. It is a magnifying mirror. And because it is in the sign of Aries, the sign of the eye, of primordial identity, the reflection we see is not that of the world or of others. The reflection we see today is that of ourselves, in our rawest, truest, and most undeniable form. This is not the harvest of what you planted in your garden. It is the harvest of who you have become. Think of the cycle that ends today. 6 months ago, the new moon in Aries began a new chapter about your identity, your courage, your will. Since then, you have made choices. You have taken actions. You have avoided others. You were silent when perhaps you should have spoken. You spoke when perhaps you should have been silent. Each of those moments was a seed. And today, the intense and merciless light of this full moon illuminates the result of all those seeds. It shows you the harvest of your own being. The person you are today at this very moment is the fruit of all your actions and omissions of the last 6 months. And the moon's mirror no longer allows you to look away. It is here that our key phrase becomes the prophecy and the verdict of the day. Everything you have avoided looking at today looks back at you. That decision about your career that you have been postponing, pushing to the back of your mind, today, it is no longer a thought. It is a weight in your stomach, a restlessness in your body. It looks at you, demanding an answer. That relationship whose uncomfortable truth you have been ignoring, covering with the blanket of routine. Today, that truth is no longer a whisper. It is a scream that echoes in the silence between you and the other. It looks at you, demanding recognition. That potential of yours, that strength, that dream that you have kept small for fear of failing, or of shining too brightly. Today, it is no longer a fantasy, it is a pain. The pain of what longs to be born. It looks at you, demanding courage. This is not a passive experience. The mirror of Aries is a mirror that confronts. It does not just show you your image, it asks you, is this it? Is this what you choose to be? Today's energy rips us from our comfort zone, from our denial, and places us face to face with the consequences of our own existence. What you see in this mirror may not be comfortable. You may see the reflection of your hesitation, of your fear, but you will also see the reflection of your strength, of your resilience, of everything you have overcome to get here. Today's task is not to judge the image in the mirror. The task is to hold it. It is to have the courage not to break eye contact. It is to take a deep breath and to accept what is revealed. Because it is only by facing the harvest of who you are today, with all your glory and all your flaws, that you gain the power to consciously decide who you will be tomorrow. After we have confronted the undeniable reflection of our own harvest, the energy of the supermoon in Aries pushes us to its second and most crucial act. Clarity by itself is only half of the equation. To see the truth in the mirror is the first step. But what we do with that truth is what defines our sovereignty. And Aries is not a sign of contemplation. It is the sign of action, of impulse, of the first step. The energy that pulsates in the air today does not invite us to reflect on the image we saw. It demands a response, an action, a movement. It is here that we are confronted with the great test of Aries, the difference between blind impulse and conscious action. The energy of Aries in its rawest form is pure life force. It is the energy of the warrior, of the pioneer, of the force that breaks inertia and initiates movement. This energy is essential for any new beginning. But without the direction of consciousness, this impulse can become destructive. It is the anger that explodes without direction, the impulsive decision that does not consider the consequences, the haste that makes us stumble. Today, with the intensity of the supermoon amplifying this Aryan flame, the risk of acting from this place of pure reactivity is immense. We may feel the need to do something, anything, just to relieve the pressure of the clarity we have received. We may be tempted to break dishes, to have the argument in the heat of the moment, to make a radical decision, just to feel that we are in control. This is the path of blind impulse. It is the action that is born from the wound, not from wisdom. But there is another path. There is a higher octave of Aries' energy, one that is equally powerful, but infinitely wiser. It is the energy of the spiritual warrior, of the master who has learned to channel their force, who does not fight for the sake of fighting, but who acts with a clear purpose. Conscious action is no less courageous than blind impulse. It is, in fact, much more so, because it is born not from reaction to the external world, but from an alignment with our inner center. And it is here that our key phrase becomes the great lesson of the day. Courage is not fighting against the world. It is not running from oneself. Let's delve into this. To fight against the world is the path of impulse. It is to project our frustration outward. It is to blame the other. It is to fight against the circumstances. It is to try to change the reflection in the mirror by force. It is an exhausting and endless battle. Not to run from oneself is the path of conscious action. It is to have the courage to remain with the discomfort of the image that the mirror has shown you. It is to breathe deeply into your own truth, however harsh it may be. It is to ask yourself, what is the one action, however small, that I can take right now, that honors the truth I have just seen? The action that is born from this question is radically different. It is not an explosion, it is a deliberate movement. If the truth you saw in the mirror was that a relationship has ended, the action of impulse is to have a fight. The conscious action is to sit in silence and to begin to plan, with dignity, the next steps for your liberation. If the truth was that you have neglected yourself, the action of impulse is to punish yourself. The conscious action is to take a single, small step of self-care. Conscious action is less dramatic, but its power is immeasurable because it is not reacting to the problem, it is building the solution. It is not fighting against the reflection, it is changing the person who projects it. The test of today, therefore, is not about the magnitude of your action, but about its origin. Before you act, before you speak, before you decide, stop for an instant, breathe, and feel in your body. This action I am about to take, is it born from my reactivity, from my need to fight against what I see? Or is it born from my courage to honor what I see and to take a step aligned with my healing? The answer to this question is the difference between being a blind soldier on the battlefield and being the sovereign general of your own liberation. After our mind has understood the nature of the harvest and the need for conscious action, the energy of the supermoon in Aries descends. It leaves the realm of the intellect and enters the most primordial and most honest domain of all, our body. Today, your body is not a passive observer. It is the epicenter of the energy, the arena where the emotional climax unfolds. The intensity that hangs in the air is no longer a concept. It is a physical experience. It is the fire of the heart, the emotional energy accumulated since the great reset of the eclipse that now reaches its boiling point and demands in a non-negotiable way a release. Observe yourself. Feel your own body now. You may notice an acceleration, an internal vibration, an electric current running through your system. And it is here that your first guide phrase becomes a precise diagnosis. The heart accelerates because the soul wants to leap. This is not the acceleration of nervousness or of restlessness. It is something different. It is the pulsation of your inner warrior awakening. It is your life force, your Aries energy, which has been contained, repressed, or directed toward paths that were not yours, accumulating in your heart center. Think of it as a racehorse, trapped at the starting gate, pawing the ground, feeling the muscle contract, knowing that the moment to run has arrived. Your soul is this horse. It is tired of waiting, tired of hesitation, tired of the cages you have built with your fears and your excuses. The heart that beats faster today is the sound of your own soul, screaming for freedom, begging for the leap, for the risk, for the action that will align it with its true purpose. At the same time that we feel this energy of acceleration, we may feel a paradox, a weight, a density in the body, a sensation of gravity that seems to hold us to the ground. And your second guide phrase illuminates this duality. The body feels the weight of the choice that can no longer be postponed. This weight is not that of stagnation. It is the weight of sovereignty. It is the weight of the scythe that you now hold in your hand. It is the awareness that the decision you make today, to cut or to keep, to advance or to retreat, has real and lasting consequences. The body feels the magnitude of this moment. It knows that this is not a rehearsal. The lightness of possibility has given way to the weight of reality. Your soul wants to leap, but your body knows that every leap has a landing point, and the choice of this point is your responsibility. It is in this tension between the desire to leap and the weight of the choice that the true fire of the heart is ignited. It is the fusion of your passion with your consciousness. The universe today does not ask you to leap blindly. It asks you to leap with intention. It asks you to use your acceleration as fuel and your weight as a rudder. Your task is not to eliminate the tension, but to use it. Let the acceleration of your heart show you the direction of your most authentic desire. And let the weight of the choice force you to be strategic, to be deliberate, to ensure that your leap is not an act of desperation, but the first calculated step of a master of your own life. Today, your body is your oracle, your pulse is your compass, and your heartbeat is the war drum that announces the beginning of your liberation. The fire that burns in your heart, the tension between the soul's leap and the weight of the choice, is not a state to be merely endured. It is a fuel. It is the ignition energy that the cosmos offers us for the great act of power that the supermoon in Aries demands of us. The liberation. But liberation, under the energy of Aries, is not a gentle process of detachment, like a leaf falling in autumn. The Aryan liberation is a cut. It is an act of will, a breaking of chains, a declaration of sovereignty. It is the moment when the warrior, tired of being imprisoned, uses their sword to free themselves. And what is the chain that needs to be cut today? What is the prison from which this full moon comes to free us? We might think it is a job, a relationship, an external situation, but the truth is deeper. The true enemy, the true chain that binds us to all these situations, is only one: fear. It is the fear that keeps us in a job that kills our soul, for fear of uncertainty. It is the fear that imprisons us in a relationship that no longer serves us, for fear of loneliness. It is the fear that prevents us from following our dream, for fear of failure or of judgment. Today, the intense light of the supermoon in Aries illuminates not only our cage, but our own fear that convinced us that the cage was safe. Today's cut is not about impulsively cutting people or situations out of your life. It is about cutting your contract with fear. It is about looking fear in the eyes and saying, "I see you, I feel you, but you do not rule over me anymore." And how do we make this cut? Not through a battle, but through a decision. It is here that the deepest lesson of the day is revealed. Today, the universe measures your readiness through your decision. Think about this. The universe is not waiting for your fear to disappear completely. It is not waiting for you to feel 100% ready, 100% safe. Readiness, in the eyes of Aries' courage, is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of a decision that is stronger than the fear. It is your unequivocal choice. The moment you, in the depths of your soul, decide, "Yes, I will have this conversation. Yes, I will start this project. Yes, I will leave this situation," in that exact instant, your vibration changes. You stop vibrating at the frequency of hesitation and start vibrating at the frequency of decision. And it is this new frequency that the universe recognizes as your signal of ready. Your decision is the act of magic. It is your signature on the decree of your own liberation. The action that follows this decision is the final seal. It is the physical act that anchors the cut in the material world. It can be a small action, sending an email, making a call, writing the first line of your plan. The size of the action does not matter. What matters is that it is a step, however small, in the direction of your decision. A step taken despite the fear. Each of these steps is a strike of your sword on the chain. The liberation that this full moon offers is not therefore a gift that is given to us. It is a power that we claim. It is the direct result of our courage to make a decision and to honor it with an action. What you cut today is not a part of your life. It is the fear that was preventing you from living it fully. After you have found your courage, made your decision, and executed the first act of liberation, your journey does not end. On the contrary, it enters its most revealing phase. The universe, which until now has been testing you in silence, observing your hesitation and your preparation, now responds. Think of this as a fundamental law of energetic physics. For every action, there is a reaction. The act of courage you practiced, however small it may have been, was a stone thrown into the mirrored lake of reality. And now, the ripples begin to come back to you, bringing with them the answer, the clarity, the verdict. Today, your task is to become an attentive observer of this reactive mirror, for it is in the world's response that the truth of your action will be confirmed. Your guide phrase for this moment is the key to manifestation. When you act with truth, the world responds with clarity. Clarity does not precede action. It is its consequence. We often remain paralyzed, waiting for a sign, for a guarantee that we are making the right decision. But the energy of Aries teaches us the opposite. It is our decision, our movement, that creates the sign. Before your action, the universe was in a position of neutrality, mirroring your own ambiguity. The moment you act from your deepest truth, you emit a clear and unequivocal frequency. And the universe, whose nature is to respond to clarity with clarity, has no other option but to reorganize itself, to mirror your new vibration. Your courage is the trigger. The world's clarity is the echo. How does this response manifest in practice? Look at your relationships. If your courageous action was to have an honest conversation, to express a need, or to establish a boundary, observe the reaction. The connections that are true, that are aligned with your evolution, will respond with relief, with respect, perhaps even with gratitude. You might hear "Finally, I was waiting for you to say that." Your truth, instead of creating a fracture, deepens the intimacy. The clarity you receive is that this bond is real and deserves your investment. On the other hand, the connections that were based on your performance, on your submission, or on denial will react with chaos. Your truth may be received with defensiveness, with anger, with silence. The person may pull away, and this, although painful, is also a response of immense clarity. It is the universe confirming to you that this bond was not sustained by love, but by illusion, and that its end is, in fact, a liberation. Look at your work and your projects. If your action was to present an authentic idea, to say no to a task that violated your values, or to commit to your own path, observe the response. If the path is aligned, the doors will begin to open in unexpected ways. A resource you needed appears. An unlikely ally offers their support. The clarity you receive is that the universe is conspiring in your favor, paving the road ahead of you. But if the path is not yours, the response will be that of a definitive no. The project may be cancelled, the proposal rejected, and this clarity is equally precious. It is the universe saving you months or years of effort in the wrong direction, freeing you so that you can redirect your energy to where it truly belongs. And finally, observe the response within yourself. After the fear of action, what do you feel now? Most of the time, the answer is a deep peace, a calm. The noise of indecision in your mind ceases. The weight of hesitation on your shoulders disappears. This peace is the final clarity. It is your own soul confirming to you that regardless of the external outcome, the act of having honored your truth was the only victory that mattered. That is why the second part of the lesson is so crucial. There is no return without movement. We can spend our entire lives planning, reflecting, waiting for the perfect moment. But the universe only responds to movement. Action is the language of manifestation. It is our commitment, our bet, our declaration that we are ready. By acting today, you have not just changed your circumstances, you have changed yourself. You have ceased to be the person who thinks about and have become the person who does. And this is a transformation from which there is no return. You have activated a new level of power, and the world, from now on, will respond to this new and more courageous version of you. Our journey through the harvest reaches its final moment. You have looked at your reflection, found your conscious action, felt the fire in your heart, executed the cut of fear, and witnessed the universe responding to your courage. The battle has ended. The harvest has been made. And now, as the night advances, the supermoon in Aries, with its reddish-orange glow, is no longer a mirror of confrontation, but a silent witness. Its work is done. Now it just observes. Think of this image, the moon, like a great cosmic wax seal, being pressed upon the parchment of your life. The decision you made today, the courage you embodied, is being sealed, marked, recorded in your soul's history. The cycle that began 6 months ago officially closes under the gaze of this witness. Your new identity, forged in clarity and action, is now your official truth. There is no going back. The seal has been placed, and in this final silence, in this moment of pure presence under the light of the full moon, it asks you one last and silent question. It is not a test. It is not a demand. It is an invitation to your future. The energy you have released, the courage you have discovered, the power you have claimed, all of this is yours now. The question is no longer, who were you? The only question that matters is, the moon looks at you and asks, what are you going to do now that you know who you are? The preparation ends here. The harvest supermoon in Aries is at its peak, and its light does not ask for contemplation. It demands a decision. Remember the truth that has guided our journey. Tonight is not just about light, it is about courage. The courage to cut what does not serve and to claim what is yours by right. What you do now at this climax is what defines your harvest. The scythe is in your hand. If this guide has helped you find your strength, anchor this vibration. Like this video, share it with someone who is also ready to act with truth, and declare your intention for tonight in the comments. I act with courage, and don't forget to subscribe. The journey of courage continues.